welcome back to another session with Paintology. As you know, Paintology is a drawing app available from the Google Play Store, and it has been designed to teach you art and not just digital drawing, but the essentially learning the fundamental core of art, the actual essence of creating good art, which requires the formal training, as you know, from teachers who will teach you with traditional materials. So Paintology is designed to make you a better artist in trying to grasp those fundamental points. So this is the app that I have opened here, and you've probably been to a few of my other sessions. I've been drawing a range of scenes, landscape scenes of sunsets, and a few of them had clouds in there. And I felt, I could improve on the clouds because I haven't spent much time, and I thought we would go through it together and learn the formation, understand what the cloud represents, and how to go about making a good drawing of it, not just in digital, but in traditional. The important thing about art is that you don't draw from imagination. If anyone tells you they draw from imagination, they'll be probably drawing abstracts and other type of images because because the details of an image are from what we see all around us, the sky, the pictures, the images, and now more so the visuals we find on our smartphone and televisions, of course. So let's go dive in, right? And then this is also a training for me, and you learn all the time. Every drawing I make, I am guaranteed that I'm going to learn something. So I wanted to, since I'm continuing to draw sunsets or scenes of that nature, I thought it would be a good idea to tackle the cloud. So I go into draw, trace image, and you'll see I have this image of the clouds. Let's take it out of grayscale, and you'll see this is the image. So this is the image, and we're going to try and make this cloud close to our drawing, and by using this trace mode, it helps us to appreciate the colors. And when we pick out colors in the actual art, no matter what medium, acrylics, watercolors, or pens, pencils, you name it, you will get a better appreciation of what's required, and hence you turn the tools to your needs. This is the one point I want to make is most people who turn to digital, you use the tools, the means to get to where they want, rather than using the tools to their advantage. They just follow the tools. So if they want to create a circle, they would get a circle tool. And if they want to blend it, they would use a blending tool. We don't do that. We're going to do this entirely manually, and you'll see for yourself, and you'll appreciate art for what it is by doing it manually. So here right away you can see formation of the clouds, the tones. We want to understand the tones. You can see there is I'm gonna reload this again, but I want to show you with lines so you can see what to look for in this simple image. So let's go for red here. All right, that's a good indicator. So here here you can see there's a darker, I can see immediately a darker patch here. This is the visual imagery you need in order to appreciate the art. So darker patch here, I can see a light patch here, another light here, and then the most very contrasting here, okay, and then here as well. So this is where an artist would pay more attention to in order to pull their creation off, to make it look authentic. You can see there's some partial ones here, dark all the way here, and then there's a light haze here and here as well. So this is what I'm looking at, and I hope you can see the same thing. So part of it is visual, to learn the visual keys to the area of the image. This is where I don't always agree with a lot of formal training that says you need to know where the light source is. Well, if you look at this drawing, where is this? How is this light source being obtained? I mean, I know the light's coming that way, right? But is it really helping you in any way? No, I actually look at an object. When I draw, I look at an object and can tell the tonal variations. Let's go a little lighter here. The tonal, you go close up, now you have more tonal balance to work with. That's the beauty of drawing on the phone. That's why I'm able to pull off realistic sunset drawings you've seen earlier using the phone, because I can zoom in. And if I zoom in at 700%, you can guarantee that is like drawing with a A3 paper or a large sheet of paper. So if you went this close with your microscope with the acrylics or any traditional material, you would see, you would not be able to, you're not zooming in and painting, are you? Yeah. And people draw on a larger canvas, so, and then they make it hyper realistic entirely because of this critical point, getting in close, really close. So this can you see right away where the variations are? I'm going to show you a complete pass using the, not the shade brush, but the line brush. But let's look at this. This is tones here, look, tones here, and then that's a tone there. Okay, and that's a tone there. And then if you look close enough, you'll see a tone there, tones there. All right, let's go away from here. Okay, so nothing here. I'm gonna try and turn my notifications off. Settings, and then notifications, then do not disturb. Okay, sorry about that. Let's get back to it. So here, if you look, it doesn't look like there's tonal variations, but look, you get closer, you'll see there's a tonal variation there. There I can see all kinds of tones. That's what will allow you, then what you're doing is you're now mimicking those tones at that level, and then when you zoom out, you'll see it when we draw, that it looks like pretty authentic, the whole drawing. And it looks a lot more, has a lot more depth, which many beginners would not get or appreciate. So this is one of the subtleties of creating art, and the reason why, I have created art with the fingers. Oh yeah, by the way, we're going to create art using the fingers. Oh, I thought I would do a drawing of Sinead O'Connor, who passed away, unfortunately. This was done with the charcoal brush, and I wanted to keep it like this. I know because I have a tendency to move towards photorealism, but in this way, it feels like it's been done by someone by hand, and that's what it is. That was done on this phone with a stylus. So I'll show you a drawing I did earlier. The few drawing. Oh, that was my daughter's actually. It's quite nice. She's getting it and getting hang of it. So this is the one I did, I think yesterday. Can you see? That was one I did yesterday, which it's all about the tones, understanding what these colors are. There's one YouTuber, he's a famous guy who drew, I think, George Bush was commissioned to draw the president, and his YouTube site is called Mix Paint something, Draw Mix and Paint, and he talks very similar to what I do here. Is it's all about achieving tonal balance. It's not really an expertise on painting as such. It's visualizing the tones of a particular image you're trying to draw that's in front of you, object, whatever. Yeah. And this is one it's the I did with my fingers, and you'll notice that the clouds. The reason I'm doing the clouds, though, I'm not that good at it, and even though it's understood by the eye that it is the cloud and it is giving the composition of the whole thing, but I haven't quite grasped, if you look close enough, the formation of the cloud. And I used the shade brush, and then I decided that some of the clouds were not. I didn't have the high contrast and the shade. This is where you try and use tools not to create the art process, and that's it. Leave it at that. You will, you will just like Bob Ross used to beat the hell out of his brush, you know? It's the same technique. You want to beat the hell out of your shade brush and find out where its limitations are. And it's only through that that you have mastery over the creation process in art. So you can see here how, because you look closer, look at all quick, the random details are placed on this drawing, but when we zoom out, it looks pretty reasonable. All right, so let's head back to the cloud we're going to do. Draw, trace, and then we go to trace mode, pick that color, and now we're back to where we started here. So let's, to make this drawing simple, we will choose the line brush, set it to 100%. Don't worry about what this density is yet. We'll get there towards the end, when we need to apply some of the details of the cloud. So I always start off with a broad drawing. I never work on tiny details, pixel by pixel. That's really not art. Art is more about creating the whole thing and looking at the whole thing in as a piece of work that needs to be worked on, not just the little tiny details like here. You'll see people talk about layers in digital drawing, and I talk about, well, you don't, if you're drawing, why do you need layers? Layers to me are the ones you need for illustration, graphics, artwork, and digital drawing. Don't get me wrong, it's great for anime, cartoon, and fantasy pictures, but you will be surprised to know how long that can take. It's because you're constantly accessing the digital tools. Here, we just, if you've seen majority of in fact, all my drawings, they're done with one or two brushes and adjusting it and to to make drawings that look photorealistic, and you saw a drawing I did with just using the fingers. Again, I'm using the fingers here. So I showed you earlier the tones, the variations in tones. So this is where the beauty of this Paintology application helps you to get a much better idea of tones. So the color picker is the one, essentially, that's the one that's going to really help you. And I'm not using color picker in the sense of the digital artistry that you find online. This is the color picker used for the essence of creating tones. Okay, and the digital art will not talk about color picker for creating tones, because they just essentially do it to replicate color they picked in one area and replicate in another area. So here we go to the zoom in to that dark region that I told you, and then you'll see that I have, oops, did I take it? No, I didn't. So I'll just take that 100%. Okay. This, by the way, is a method of block coloring, and it's very much like paint by numbers. And you can see I'm using this, I've got it almost all the way, and I'm using a brush size that is sort of resembles the area. So it has to be smaller than the area that I'm trying to cover, isn't it? So have I got this area right? Well, if you notice that this orange here is about the size of the brush size. So I can probably take it down a little bit, about 11%. Okay, and then we can keep drawing this. So what we're doing is we're laying down the broad colors using the color picker here. It's a great way of drawing. In fact, I found this method of drawing a year ago while I was playing with Paintology here, and then I realized that it was quite powerful. It was almost like paint by numbers. You don't have to keep referring to the numbers. You select a brush size, and you just simply go over that region of color by keep selecting that. And the smaller you go, the more detail you will have. And I did the famous Haywain by John Constable. I did it, that block coloring, and I went through it, and I realized that this was a great method of producing paintings, and very easy. And then your brain automatically will start appreciating the different tones that exist. Look, we've done a few, and look at the tones. Even though you may think the top tones are similar, they're not. And that's the range of tones you find, and that's what drawing and painting is all about, trying to replicate those tones. So again, I'm taking them very quickly, and now I'm going to draw really rapidly using color picker to select the regions. Using the fingers. Finding where those variations in tones are. You can see I'm looking through the window to the reference image, as well as seeing my coverage of the paint over that region. So we go through like this really quickly, and it's quite fun actually. It's not difficult at all. there's quite a few block coloring techniques, drawing tutorials you'll find with Paintology, and I plan to put more. Alright. And then I'm just going to show you the top bit of this sky when I've finished, and then you'll see how these color variations make a difference. So people think drawing is all about a pencil and then you make a mark on it. That's it. That's from a beginner's point of view, yeah. But there's so much to drawing that you're not going to appreciate if you don't do it. You'll just be speculating, and then you'll just be putting it down to people's talents, which you don't have. And it's nothing like that. So if you want to really get into drawing, I suggest you do it this way that I'm using, which is much more fun. And I know for a lot of people look down on digital tools, but I don't look at digital tools as a way to take shortcuts into drawing. I look at it as a way to help us appreciate art for what it is. And when you come to use it like this, you'll see that it's not only art is not only can be the practice of it doesn't have to be hard, it can be just as fun. Okay, you see how I got the colors more or less right compared to, see, that is done with the block coloring, and that would be the basis of the first pass, as I call my drawing passes as the first pass. And if I were to determine this final drawing based on this first pass, I might as well give up painting or drawing altogether, because you're not seeing the rest of the steps that still remain for this drawing to look good. So now we're going to, now it makes sense that if you were using your own eyes and visual cue to do this, we would need to zoom in more and reduce that brush size even further. Let's take it to 4 or 5%, yeah? And try and replicate these real colors, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The edge of the cloud, yeah? Remember I told you it was the distinct edge? Let's see what happens. I can't tell you what happens or what the final piece looks like, but all I can tell you is I've done something similar, and I can expect more or less that this will be the case when I keep doing this block coloring. So still using block coloring, nothing different. So using the size to just make out that tones, these different tones I was telling you about. Okay. So these tones pick out the exact tonal values beneath in the reference drawing, and I'm just transferring it to my canvas, and then you'll be able to see what the smaller size can do to the smaller brush size can sort of give the optical illusion of the eyes, giving you that high contrast image and giving you more detail, and then it makes the whole drawing or painting look so much different. And we're going to keep on working like this until we've got to the, so are there any bits here? And then here I can see different area here. The very light area here. Almost close to the edge. And then let's see what happens. So we got remnants of the clouds. Can you see the detail of that? It's actually formed. And then we can see that we need to create this region in the lower bits of the cloud to get the turn. So when you're working like this, you're automatically sensing the different tones, and your brain becomes wired to these different tones, and then you automatically will apply this to real life drawing. And I can show you. Let me save that. Okay, and let's go back. My paintings, and I'll show you a drawing that I did of freehand drawing. Did a freehand drawing. I'm sorry. This is a photorealistic drawing. I can show you. This was done on the phone, so you can see you can apply your drawing skills, paint tone skills, and just continue to do this here on an actual drawing. Okay, so you don't, when you come to draw, please, oops, oh no, that's actually good. So when you come to draw, always try to, well, when you come to draw, always try to use tools to improve what you want. For example, you want to understand tones, or you don't see the tones, or you don't see, remember, you're a beginner, and you want to, you're looking at all these artists, and they're miles ahead of you, and you don't know how to cross that ocean to get to their level. So you make leaps and bounds of judgment, speculation on how they got there, and it's all pure speculation. I'm sorry. If you're going to base your idea of drawing on speculation and on what happens from, going from the edge of the ocean to the other side, where the artist is so good, then you will be speculating, and then you see them when they're creating artwork on YouTube and how fluently, easily they do it. Just keep in mind they do it so fluently because they understand their instruments, the brushes, the colors, what they need to mix to apply to this drawing, to this painting that they're doing. They have it in their head. They are masters of their own tools. You somehow think that you need to bypass all this training and somehow magically appear on the other side. Sorry, that's not going to happen. If you really want to enjoy the journey of drawing and painting, I would go with a totally open mind. Same thing with digital. The reason why most people are able to do digital is because it cuts out a lot of the rudimentary stuff that I'm doing here. But then again, they lose out on the appreciation of art. So you'll be learning tools for the sake of using tools, but not really understanding art as I'm showing you here. Okay, so let's go back here and let's keep working on those colors. See that color? And let's finish it really quickly. I hope you're doing this with me. Then you can really appreciate what I'm trying to do here. just go quickly. I'm not going to spend too much time. That's the reason why the brush size is important for this work. And you'll notice that most artists at the end always select a smaller brush size. So this could be a work on block coloring, but again, you know, when you do block coloring, you are also not just doing it without any thought in the world. You're actually seeing the different tones as you zoom in, and then you'll appreciate what a real painting or drawing looks like. Have you ever seen what the John Constable's painting looks so close up? I have, because I did block coloring of his the Haywain, and I could see some of the paintwork and strokes that he used to do those details. And again, he's not creating hyperrealism or anything. He will make the actual cart looks like it was sketched and nothing more. But when you go out, the whole composition comes together. It was actually John Constable's painting which, when I was young, inspired me to draw and take up drawing. At that time, I wasn't so keen on painting, but I used to love drawing. And then it wasn't until many years later that I found a paint by numbers in a hobby shop, and then I started painting on it, and I thought, wow, this is turned out to be good, and I kept at it, and I ended up doing so many acrylic paintings, graphite, charcoal drawings, and then moved to digital like here. All right, so just keep doing that. I mean, it's a fun little thing. Look how the tone changes each time I select the color picker, right? That's what you're going to get an appreciation of as you keep. So there's a lot of the cloud. You can see this. You can see the lighter tones showing up. So keep selecting that color picker and the region where you think it should be a little darker. As you can see, I know it's a little lighter here, and a little darker there. All right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so that's actually looking not too bad. Now you see that with the cloud coverage and then the cloud formation, you're beginning to see there's some resemblance of a cloud, right? So now let's see how the tones vary here, and stick to the same brush. I'm going to stick to the same brush, so because I wanted to get that kind of a gradient towards the thing, otherwise it'll be too blocky. Like we picked that bigger color, but we're going to fix that on the sky, the main sky. But don't worry, we'll fix that when we get to this. This is the first pass that I feel would be a good way to get to the, the first stage of the drawing, and then add in the details and continue to improve on it. This is where, I wanted to mention that there's a lot of people who do traditional art, and then they have this completely different notion of what digital is all about. I'm sure when you see me draw like this, you're thinking, I never knew that digital drawing was going to be like that. I thought it was all about using the tools, you know, using the tools to make good drawing. I'm sorry, I have made photorealistic drawings exactly like this, and I can do it faster than other people who use tools. But this is the natural way of drawing. If you want to draw, if you like to draw anime and cartoons, illustrations, graphic materials, then yeah, use the tools. I use it. I use GIMP and Photoshop. I'm pretty actually advanced user of those, but I would never draw with those. I don't get any satisfaction of drawing with those. I mean, it shouldn't be called a drawing application. It should be called an illustration, graphics application. This is drawing, just like it was meant to be in the traditional. Okay, so I've taken the reason I'm doing that lower little bit, even with the smaller brush, is because I don't want a large, big step towards the bigger region, the larger region of the colors that will lie here. You can see here now our eyes have become a lot more focused on these tiny details that help us improve our drawing. So don't think when you look at an image you've got a very good idea of what you're looking at. Look, we're now seeing details, tiny details. Can you see it there? Can you see it there? The clouds there, here, here, and then here. Can you see the different clouds? There, there. See? It's that. So those can be worked on. But before we do that, I want to show you something how we can replicate that. But you'll notice towards the bottom edge, it gets quite dark. So it gives us an idea of what brush size we're going to use. I could continue, and you could continue using this 4-5% brush size all the way down to the edge, or I could try and speed it up, like I'm going to try and speed it up, and then increase to about 12%, and then change the dark color and bring it up, and then work on the details. You see, I'm a bit of a stickler for time, so I have a tendency to do things, spend not too much time on a particular painting if I can. Otherwise, I feel I don't have time to do a lot of the other paintings that I want to do. So again, 14%. Look how I'm covering that range quickly. And I'm not worried about those light clouds I showed you. That will come towards the end. I'm just interested in the background color of this. Again, this is a new techniques I'm using. It's not something I have tackled before, but look here, let's have a look. Okay, so we have, see how this, you see, if you see why you chose to do that, you see there, can you see there's a darker patch here, here, so you could just do that, isn't it? Right, and then here there's a purple patch, right? You could just keep doing it that way, and there's actually slight darker, This is where your eyes can fool you into thinking different about and colors density that goes. So here we have always we have something that looks, and then we're going to try, and I'm thinking now, what would the next step be? You see, if I had all these steps in the first place, like a beginner who thinks that they have the steps, I have to go from 0 to 100% artistic value, and if they don't, they will drop out, which many do. And you see, as an artist, I'm even thinking incrementally is what's the next step. I don't have a solution. When I put down my first pass and then the second pass, third pass, yours may be different. I will know what to do in the so right away I can see that I've laid down the first foundation and then the second foundation of the painting or drawing, and now I'm able to determine what to do as the next layer of drawing, as the next pass. Okay, so here I can see that I could continue, and this is the beauty of this 100 density here, and I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, so let's fill in these little areas that you can see. So I've gone straight to my cover and I'm just going to fill it in. I don't just fill it in with the adjacent colors. So it's very easy. The whole marks made here. So what you do is you get your color picker, find the adjacent tool and drag it. Pick the color picker, find the adjacent tool and drag it. So it's actually, you don't have to deselect the color picker, okay? So you can pick the color picker, drag it, and it will take on the color of the selected region or that region, you see? And here, I feel that I need to get rid of these distracting white marks first. Oops, did you see that? I picked the white, and that's why. Okay, so that's looking better, isn't it? So here, it's looking a lot better, and even the cake, the edge of those clouds are beginning to take form. So I can see a little. Sorry, see that mark there. Get rid of that. And now what we can do is blend. We're going to go straight into blending. So here I can see, you will probably not know this, but your eyes have stayed focused on this particular traced image, reference image, for such a long time that you're beginning to pick out information that you wouldn't possibly have seen in the first pass. So it's the same thing. As you go, continue on, your eyes will disseminate what you're seeing and try and use the tools as a means to achieve them, not using the tool sets at the beginning that most beginners make the mistake, and using that to get to it's not that way, I'm afraid. If you really want to be a good artist, it's the goal of achieving that and using the appropriate tools to achieve that. It's a bit difficult to tell you what I mean unless you've gone through the whole process. So here we have this. Now we can switch quickly back and forth between so this is a high speed way of achieving. So this is where we're going to do the blending. Now look at this one here. Now you can see that it looks like paint by numbers, isn't it? Regions. Now we're going to blend it. And how do you blend it? Well, it's quite easy actually. I take this down 30% density, take it down to the brush size that I want, let's say 5%, And then I pick this color, and then I'm just going to blend. All right, maybe that's not enough, so we need more. And then I would pick the adjacent brown color to blend. And then if you're in that region, then you do that. I would use the just sometimes get stuck. Then I would see, just go with that, and then just keep dabbing into it because the more strokes you do, because you want to diffuse the area. So here again, and don't worry about getting it exactly right. Taking out that sharp edge. That's what I'm doing. Look, it's already giving the illusion of, and increase the density if you're not able to do it quick enough. All right, and then here you can see here, then increase the density a bit if you're not. So this is the beauty of nature, is that there is no distinct parallel lines. Just keep dabbing, giving the illusion of there's no diffused areas. Can you see it? And then just pick the color that you feel that would be good for blending. And let's see what that looks like. It's a bit better, isn't it? It will get better as you do more of it. And then I'm going to pick a bigger brush size. Okay. So this is where you're going to really get an appreciation. Well, this is what artists do. They're able to understand their tools so well that they make the work look so easy. And that's because they have an understanding of the properties of these tools that they're using, much more so than obviously a beginner. So I can sort of see where I need to adjust the density in the brush. If you're thinking, well, when do I need to select that, then you're still in the beginning stages. But I can see by applying this where I need to make the adjustments. And the problem with art is that for an artist to explain all those tiny techniques that comprise making artwork, it's not possible, you know that. You have to try it. This is where you have to practice, and you're on your own. And that's why a lot of art schools, you're on your own, because you got to learn. Then they're not going to hold your hands and show you. Okay, it's getting better, isn't it? We can improve that bit later on, but right now I'm just interested in diffusing those sky the background. Keep looking at it. Use a bigger brush if you have to. Pick the adjacent. So it's getting better, and I'm learning what these tools are doing as I'm doing it, and trying to remember what I did to make sure that this blended, so I would know I need to create the same settings. So here I could just go, remember I've got a 15%, blend it and use different colors. This is using the fingers, blend it and just keep working at it. This is the kind of stuff that you wouldn't typically be able to do in any other medium. That's the beauty of the digital medium, see? Okay, keep doing it and see, covered that. And now what we can do is I feel that my next intuitive move is to blend this, since we've got blending going on so well on the upper sky. We're going to blend this. And again, using the reference, I can see that I might need to keep working on these bigger areas first, right? And then stretch it out to different colors. Don't use the same color. And then if it's not working, change the density or something, yeah? Pick that color of this color and I'm blending it. And remember, I've still got it. I like this 16% setting because I'm using there. So now you can see that it's getting really there. It's getting like to the point where you'd think you're almost done, but you're not. So you can see I'm flicking between let's flick between the, the drawing, the reference, and then feel where you need to change. I feel that I need to bring some of this color in here down below. So pick that color and then bring that and add the hue. This is all about looking at the eyes, looking at this is all about replicating the colors. So I need to take that down because the darker color is having quite a bit of an effect. Okay, so now what we can do is, am I happy with this area around here? Well, you know what? I feel like before I tackle the edges of those bright clouds, I feel like I want to do something here. So I want to just get that faint haze of that faint. So that looks like totally dark, but in reality, because the adjacent colors are so dark, it actually makes it look so much brighter than what it really is. So again, increase the density, see what happens. See that? Increase the density and it shows some remnants. And I can pull it off. And then increase a little bit. Use my fingers. Let's see what that looks like, yeah? Let's see if we manage to do something. It does, doesn't it? And you'll notice that this is not really merged. So I'm going to increase that. This light area that I have here, I want to lighten it a bit more. Using the fingers only. Let's see what that looks like. It's probably better, isn't it? And then you can see there's some line streaks here that we want to possibly merge. Let's see if we can do that. See how it was too density. So what we need to do is we need to reduce that density. Now look, one stroke, right? You can hardly see it, but we can blend it. So it's like even so lower. That's the beauty of learning your tools, learning how they operate, and then increase. Let's see what happens. We've got something closer. No, it's too dark, isn't it? So we need to... The reason why I'm going back to the original reference is that it will tell us if it's unnatural or if it does work, yeah? You can keep it if you think it works. All right, so now what we can do, let's save it, is that I feel like I need to work from the left upwards and use this blending technique we've learned. This one is getting a little darker, but can we get away with it? That's the important thing. Does it actually work? If we can add a little bit, take a little bit of that out, the lightness, and then you can always go to the color palette, right? And then select something that just a little bit lighter, right? To give the illusion of depth, not just one flat color. And let's see what that looks like. So it's all right. I think it's looking good. And let's go focus on this area here. And let's see what that looks like. So here, I think it's like looking too distinct. We know the edges, so we're gonna cover that, get the color of that, and then do that merging we did. Take it down because of the small area, and then let's lift that up and see what that happens. Then let's see here. Okay, and then what we can do is increase because it's like really gives the illusion of clouds. And then here we can see this dark will needs to be carried into the adjacent area, so blend that out. So still using my fingers. Blend that out. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Better, isn't it? It's getting better all the time. And remember, you can come and revisit this section. It's not like you need tools to come and do this again. You just need to carry on doing what you're doing with this blending techniques I just mentioned. It's really hard. I need to get this fixed. So you can see here, okay, so we're going to getting a good look at the reference, and then getting a good look at the reference in my drawing, and then thinking where I'm going to blend it. That's fairly easy. Take that darker color, and remember, this is also a little bit of a new technique for me in blending. I'm learning as I go along. Let's see if we can blend that out. Yes, very good. So this is just the one line brush. And then we're going to blend this little area here. And then take that and blend it. And then take this red. Okay. Then take this color adjacent, blend it out. And then this darker color, take that back. Then we can equally take the black color and blend it out. Okay. Interesting to see what it looks like now. Yes, taking the shape of the cloud, I would imagine, very diffused. And now you can see, this is what I was telling you earlier, that with each pass you're learning a little bit incremental. Beginners think from 0 to all the way to 100%, and they have no idea of what's in between. And so they speculate one after another. I don't have talent. I don't know what to do because I need to jump from A to B and get to where I'm. Sorry, this, I hate to say this, but all areas of skill requires practice, training, learning, and having a passion for it. If you're serious about improving your skill, and you need to, first of all, think outside the box, rethink what you're doing, and look at my post called DPD of training, the 3D traits of creating a mindset to develop new skills. And it's called desire, passion, and dedication. And those three looks very intimidating at first, but they actually come from a passion and a desire to do something. So it's any skills, I can tell you. Right, so we've done this area, and let's look at this area so we can keep looking at it. It's more or less the same thing. I'm going to keep working my way, diffusing those sharp edges. Maybe take it down a little bit, the size, because then I don't have to go too far out. Okay, fingers again. And if you're not achieving the effect, increase the density, okay? Look, let's increase it more. Okay. That will give you a far quicker way of getting that. Take that color picker and see what happens. And diffusing it. Okay, take that color and just diffuse it to the adjacent areas. Okay. And then I could go further, I think, because I don't want it to go too far out. Okay, we can keep doing this. Finger jabbing, it's really good. I can see the finger working more effectively than a stylus in this than here. Just working away. Then we'll see the differences because we're going to the most distinct part of the image. You can see here it's not looking like it's a train track, is it? So we will try and bring the colors back here. Because we don't want to make that look like that the cloud is on rails or something, right? Give the illusion of real illusion of clouds, right? So I'm picking this. This is something new to me as well. You have to remember that. I'm not 100% knowing what I'm doing, but at least let's take that down because we're now really into the area that we need to do a better job than most because our eyes are drawn to those really lovely orange right, and then we could just as well take that Jason color and stretch it out. Yeah. Once we've got that, we'll know that we need to do the rest in a similar fashion, or we'll try a little different technique. Okay. This gives the illusion of cloud, isn't it? And then even if you have the red bit in there, it gives the illusion of optical density. And then let's see what happens. Yeah, it's a little bit. Let's go really down, I think. All right, let's see what happens. Oh yes, getting better, isn't it? But then you can see there's sort of a too much of an adjacent. So we need to stretch that out into that so it doesn't look like a straightforward rail. Same color, and then keep doing it. Okay, we're going to go through it really quickly. Don't want to, I know you guys are busy with your schedule, so I'm just going to go through it quickly, and I got things to do, more content to upload. So please check out the app, the Paintology app. You'll be surprised with how much you can. Don't think of it like a digital tool. Oh, I'm left on to my own devices to draw, all I need is a drawing canvas. So if you want to really improve, you can carry on using the app as you see fit. But if you really want to learn drawing like how much I appreciate drawing, then you really need to work on your techniques. All right, let's go that. Let's do it really quickly. Yeah. Okay. The fingers very, very quickly. Maybe increase the density a bit, tad. And then we can just do this quickly. And then we can see what it looks like. No big deal. Just blending out these sharp areas, you know. So it looks like clouds. Because this is going to help me when I do more sunsets. Because remember I was using just a quick method. Okay. Don't be afraid to take another color over it, because that's the nature. It's the nature, isn't it? So yeah, it's getting better. I can see we need to diffuse that. Have you seen how it diffuses into that? So we can do that, same thing. It's about technique. Your fingers will have a real workout, I can tell you that. Okay. So just very, very quickly, and you'll find the right point for you. This finger painting of clouds. Very interesting. Techniques, all different techniques, doing using a round stroke. Yeah, I'm not dabbing in, I'm actually using a round stroke. All right, let's see how far we're on. Okay, so just blending that, you can see how your eyes get so used to it. Let's see. It's better, isn't it? Although I can see some improvements that needs to be made. And we can do that by lightening that. And then here, oops, don't want to use too much density. Just take that away. Give the illusion, yeah, a little bit better. And then here, I can use that. Right. So with the darker tone, you have to do a little bit more work in increasing the density to diffuse it. Okay, let's have a look. Yes, better, isn't it? And then you can see there's that little streaks that goes on, this nice little streak. Let's go up a bit. Those streaks that we want to, the yellow streaks, sorry. So I didn't pick that color. The orange streaks. Right, and then maybe what we could do here, this one is sort of climbing out too much, but hasn't got that yellow. Could we put a little bit of yellow, you think? Give that a little bit of some like a child method. Well, you can see it's getting better, and I can see that we might need to merge this dark tone. Let's take it all the way up and see if we can take this dark tone down, and if we need to, we can use this lighter tone here and bring some of it in here to reduce that intensity of the dark tone. Right. Yeah, gives it a little depth. And now I think that's probably looking better. You can see there's an orphan cloud here going on here somewhere, but we need to bring that. Okay. An orphan cloud going on here. Let's try that. It's this one here. Let's pick that. This. Yeah. So I think that's not bad. And then we can just keep merging. That we're almost done, I think. Keep merging and making this. Now we've got a better handle on the tools. We can keep merging and get back to that area, which can be improved. And then take that. All right. And then here we can use what we learnt. Oops. See the brush size. And then we take that down to a reasonable size and just take that down even more because we don't want. All right, and then take this, increase that. I think that's already looking a little okay, and maybe If we want to, we can finish this here with, let's take that. You see how the size varies as you go down, go to different areas. And then you know what I feel like doing? I feel like putting a dark lighter region here. Don't know. Right? Gives it a little bit more depth, doesn't it? Alright, and maybe we can add a little the white region here as well. Look, see, just gives it a bit more like a three-dimensional effect. Yeah. So there you have it, cloud drawing. Let me just, but you can see how I have tailored this drawing according to the tools. I don't let the tools determine my final drawing. I tailor these tools to the exacting needs of the drawing, yeah? So let's, let me, oops, it's too hot. Should take that down and sign it here. Let me take that down a bit. So you can see I'm bad at, when it comes to using my fingers, definitely poor at. So there you are, Paintology. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and it's a learning process and one goes through it all the time, learning. And this is the beauty of art. You don't want to go from 0 to 100. If you do, you shouldn't really take up this skill in the first place. If you want to enjoy the journey, then by all means, keep your mind open and learn to the possibilities and understand the possibilities that come with this journey. Hope you enjoyed this session, and please provide a comment or anything that you want to see more of, and I'm happy to, answer your requests, reply to your comments. Thank you, and bye bye.